how to apply caregiver in Canada, how to apply nanny jobs here in Canada. You stay with me until the end of this video. My name is Sarah Buyucan. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I love to share about life reality in this country. I do family vlogs, especially those aspirant immigrants. I just love to share my life, okay? Disclaimer, what I share is based on my own life experience in Canada, and I don't give any job offer to anyone. I'm not an immigration consultant. Stay with me until the end of this video because I am going to just answer some questions, like, you know, you keep on asking me how to apply to come in Canada as a caregiver, how to apply to come in Canada as a nanny. Okay, so being a nanny or caregiver is one way or pathways to become a permanent resident in Canada, and that's where I applied when I first came to Canada. Some of you guys are asking me, do I need to study caregiver to come in Canada? You know what? I didn't study to come here in Canada, but I have an experience to take care of small children before I applied to come here in Canada. So that's a plus factor for me when I apply to come in Canada. The employer wants to hire me because of my work experience. Okay, so if I were you, yes, you asking me, do I need to study caregiver? If I were you, you need to get some experience. Work experience related to caregiving is looking after small children or taking care elderly people, something like related to caregiving. Okay, some of you guys are asking me, one of the comments said, like, you know what, I don't think caregiver is a good job. Well, you know what, not everybody can become a caregiver. Okay, it's from your heart. You need to be in your heart to take care of small children or caregiver. And you know what? Some people, this is their pathways to become a permanent resident in Canada. Then later on, when they become a permanent resident, then they will apply what job they are doing in their back home. If they want to be a doctor, continue. If they're a doctor in back home, they want to continue being a doctor or become a registered nurse here in Canada. Why not? You know, they have to go to school once they become a permanent resident, okay? Because one of the comment I received in my comment sections videos, it says, like, you know, I don't think caregiver is a good job. Well, not all people become a caregiver in Canada. You know what, even permanent resident or Canadian citizen here in Canada, they are all working in assisted living or in a nursing home here in Canada, because that's what they want to do. That's their job. That's, you know, this is their calling. They want to take care of people who are sick. Okay, so not all people become a caregiver. Okay, it has to be from your heart. Okay, so anyway, I just want to say that because for me, some of my videos, I keep on talking about caregiver jobs here in Canada, and of course, some of you guys doesn't like to become a caregiver, and it's okay. But for me, because I just want to share for people out there who still have the plan and dream to become a permanent resident in Canada, and this is one of the pathways you can be a Canadian citizen like me here, okay? So anyway, you don't need to have a relatives to come here in Canada and work as a caregiver. For me, when I first came here, I have some relatives here, but they have no clue that I'm coming in Canada, and I'm coming in Canada and work as a caregiver and nanny here in Canada, okay? When I arrived in Canada, I had no clue. I don't even know the people who are going to pick me up in the airport, but my employer is the one who picked me up in the airport, okay? So you don't need to have a relatives, but let me tell you this, how to find an employer here in Canada. Apply caregiver through a friend. Okay, if you have a friend here in Canada, this friend who is working as a caregiver, they can replace you by the time they apply, waiting for their permanent resident. They can replace you while they're waiting for their permanent resident. Okay, some of my friends did that to their sisters, okay, to their brothers. While they're waiting for their permanent resident, they'll ask their employer if they can continue to hire people from overseas, like my sister, my friends, to come here in Canada for my replacement, because once I get my permanent resident, then I have to go and work another job. So some employers wants to hire people like a continuation of their friends. Okay, so if you have a friend here in Canada, you ask your friend if your employer is still a caregiver or nanny jobs. Okay, that is one of the way you can find employer in Canada. Okay, because first thing first, you need to find an employer in Canada. Okay, so second, relatives. If you have a brother, sister, auntie, uncles, grandma, grandpa, oh my god, my telephone. Okay, ask them if they can hire you to come here in Canada, guys. Okay, my goodness, I don't know who is calling. Let me check. Okay,
Take care.
Yes. Oh, no, no, that was been like long time ago. I'm sorry. Pilipino ka po?
Pilipino ba to?
Oo.
Alam mo ba kung nasaan siya?
Hindi po, bakit naghanap po kayo ng ano, caregiver, babysitter?
Hindi.
I don't know where I am now. If you have relatives here, if you have your uncle, your aunties, your brother, sister, if they need someone to take care of their small children or their parents, grandparents, you have to ask them, okay? And you know what I did here when I first came, before I come to Canada, how did I find my employer here? I go through an agency, guys, okay? When I was in Hong Kong, I went through an agency because I don't know anybody here in Canada who can find employer for me. So what I did, I went to the agency, okay? So you go to the agency, and I don't know what country you are from, there is always an agency who can like affiliate here in Canada looking for employers for you guys, okay? But of course you need to pay, because you know agency is money. We are talking about money. Agencies, they're asking a lot of money, okay? So if you can afford, try to pay someone who can find employer for you, okay? Or you can apply on your own, okay? You can apply on your own, guys, okay? How? You can go to the website here in Canada, go to the Canada Job Bank. But let me tell you this, there's no guarantee it's easy for you to find an employer. Because why? People mostly from here in Canada, they priority people inside Canada who are looking for a job. So there's an official Canada website that you can find employer here in Canada. Go to canada.ca. I always say that canada.ca, go and look for your own. Otherwise, it's better for you to go to the agency. You know, agency, they are, some of them are greedy. Do your own research. I'm not going to recommend any agencies out there. It's because you know what, some agencies are so greedy, they're asking a lot of money from you guys, and you might end up like complaining, why Sarah, this agency is too much money. Of course, these agencies, I don't know how much they charge you, and if I'm going to recommend someone, they will charge you too much, and you might blame me, okay? And that's not how I help people. What I help is like giving a lot of information about Canada, how you can find a jobs, you know, and this is one way I'm doing it now. I'm giving you some tips, okay, just based on my own experience. So that's how I help people. And what else you have to do? You know what? Come visit Canada. Go visit Canada. Come visit Canada. By the time you are visiting Canada, of course, you have to go and look around and travel around the beautiful sceneries here in Canada, especially in Alberta. If you are in Alberta, go find an employer while visiting here in Canada. This is the chance for you, okay? Like, look around, you know. If you have the experience for elderly people or for the kids, try to look for private employers. There are so many here in Canada are looking for a nanny or someone to take care of their mom, okay? Because some employers, sometimes they prefer to see you in person, do the interview, and you know, some employers like to do that, hey, just to make it sure, especially those well, you're going to take care of their loved ones, right? So some employer, they want to see you in person, okay? Let's say now you have the employer in Canada. What's next things you have to do? You're going to look for someone who are expert to do all the processing for you to come here in Canada, okay? If you don't have enough time to do your own research, to do the application, to process your own application, then go ask people help to do it for you. Like go to immigration lawyer, immigration consultant who can process your applications. But as I said, you need to pay again, okay? If you don't want to do it yourself. But if you want to do it yourself, go to the official Canada website, canada.ca, and look for the home child care pilot program or home support pilot program. Just do it yourself. There is you know, if you go to the official Canada website, they will guide you. There's always the guidelines, okay, even the requirements, how to do. Because you keep on asking me, I don't know if you guys watching all this video that I'm talking about, because I'm giving you all the tips already. If you are new to my YouTube channel, I'm going to say it again. The requirements for being a home child care pilot program or home support pilot program under the Caregiver program here in Canada, you need to at least college graduate. You need to have at least 1 year full-time work experience during the time of your application in Canada. And you need to take the English examination test. This is the IELTS, International English Language Test, and the passing score is 5. And also your transcript of record in college, you need to submit in Canada either of the following: ICES, CES, IQUAS, and WES. Okay, because these agents, they need to assess your credentials in Canada, because there's a qualification for that you need to achieve before you pass the requirements. So it's a little bit, it's not easy nowadays, guys, to tell you honestly, because in my time, we don't have that credential assessment, we don't have the English examinations. Okay, and now my dog is keep barking outside. She want to come inside again. Oh my goodness, princess. So anyway, guys, if you don't want to come in Canada under the home child care pilot program or home support pilot program because of the requirements, like, you cannot even do your IELTS, your English test, so many like requirements to do, then you try to apply in Quebec. Quebec is the only province here in Canada that they accept the old pathway for caregiver. You don't need to have your English examination test. The most important you just need is at least in college, and you need to have employer, but the employer need to provide LMIA. If I believe, I'm not very sure for this anymore, because I focus on like home child care pilot program. So please do your own research. Go to the Quebec. Quebec is in Canada, okay, but it is a French province in Canada. They speak French, but they still hire people from overseas. Doesn't matter, you don't speak French, because these people in France, Quebec, they still speak English. So if you want to apply in Quebec, try to apply in Quebec. One of the person who commented too said, like, I don't have any relatives to come to Canada. There is, how can I find an employer in Canada? You know what, Jen, go to an agency like what I did. Okay, well, as I said, I have relatives in Canada, but they have no clue that I am coming to Canada. Okay, I came to Canada and then I contact them that, hey, I'm here in Canada. So you don't need to have a relatives, It's just, if you can do it, guys. If I can do it, you can do it too. My life when I first came to Canada is more hard because I came from Hong Kong. Look, oh my goodness sake, I was like inside my employer. I don't have the, like, no freedom to do what I want, to apply to come in Canada. But God is good to me. That's why I want to share this to you guys. If I can do it, you can do it too. You don't need to have a relatives, a friends to come here in Canada. Sometimes it's good it that way. You come and you start your life, and that's how you learn life in Canada. You learn it your own and you become a strong person. That's how I did when I first came to Canada. So don't just rely to your friends, relatives. Just do it yourself. People can do it. Why can't you?